All right, everyone. Welcome to Phase 1, Part 2, and that is installing STEEDA's IRS subframe support system. These guys support the bushings that support the subframe. Now, I've gone ahead and labeled them. Like this is the rear lower, and the groove section must fit up. Rear upper, right, which is these thinner looking guys. You can see there's a thicker and a thinner. The thinner is the rear up, that's them. These thicker guys right here are the front uppers. And then these are the front lowers. So I've got them all labeled. Clearly I've shown you here, but if you look in STEEDA's instructions, they've actually got it labeled really well and explained to the orientation. They'll watch on camera. If you want to see it in picture, you can look at their instructions. And the other bit we have is the alignment kit. So the subframe from the factory is designed to be able to move around so that they can align it in the factory. They usually don't do a good job. The bolt holes have a lot of slop, so the subframe can move a lot. The subframe can move more than 1/4 of an inch either direction generally. So these guys, the dowels, actually go up in the hole and fill that extra space so that there's less room for movement. So what we're going to do is we're actually in roll right now. We are doing, if you watched the last video, our STEEDA HDPE with our Pro Action handling suspension, our shocks and springs. But we need to tighten the subframe back up after having done the rear coils. Well, we've already got the subframe dropped. So while we're in the process of sucking the subframe back in, these guys are going to go on so that we don't work twice. So you might be asking yourself, well, I want to do this on my Ecoboost. Well, if you're going to take the time to do the suspension and you've got to loosen the subframe anyways, you really want to do these guys. And you might ask yourself, well, can I do one or the other of these? These dowels are super cheap. No, just put the freaking dowels in because they ensure that every time you drop the subframe, the alignment stays the same. It's a big deal. And it keeps the subframe from wiggling around, as well as these guys help keep the subframe from wiggling around. In my opinion, they are complementary of each other and should always be purchased together. So if you're going to drop the rear suspension, just spend a little extra money and put these guys in because you have to pull those subframe bolts out anyways. They're finicky, so don't work twice. Just put them in. So we're going to go ahead back out there. We're going to stick our shocks back in while we're doing that for the Part 1 video, which you probably have seen already. And then while we're putting the subframe bolts in, we're going to go ahead and put the dowels and everything else in and show you how to put those together because that's Part 2. Let's go ahead and get our, like I said, our dowels and our bushing braces in. Hey everyone, sorry to interrupt that awesome video that you're watching, but I need to take a minute to talk about our channel sponsor, CarLock. I don't know if you know this, but approximately every 3 seconds in the US, a vehicle is stolen. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to be part of that statistic. And CarLock is here to help you not become part of that statistic. How? Well, they sell a both OBD2 and hardwired version of a GPS tracking device that is 4G LTE enabled. Oh, but wait, there's more. It sends real-time notifications to your smartphone to say things like, hey, vibration has been detected. The door has been opened. Hey, your device has been disconnected. Someone's trying to steal it. Oh no, your engine has started. And even worse, your vehicle is now in motion and you didn't do it. And having those types of notifications for my project cars give me serious peace of mind. And they will for you too. Now, they also sell extension cables and splitters if you want to hide your OBD2 device under the dash, as well as extra sensors to increase your level of security if you so choose to. And for a short time, you're going to get a discount on your device. Well, down below, I'm going to have a code. First code is going to be for 10% off of CarLock's Amazon store. Second code is going to be for 14 free days of service. Y'all go check that out. Thank you very much, CarLock, for sponsoring this video here today. Y'all pick one up to help support the channel. Let's get back to the video. All right, y'all. So subframe bolts to put in the centering dowels and the bushing braces, there are 4 subframe bolts. Here's your rear coil. There's a subframe bolt here. And then across from it on this side, there's a subframe bolt here. And then when you come up to the front, subframe bolt. And then there's 2 little bolts that go in right here. It's a 21 and 13 mils. Same thing on this side. But I've go ahead and backed one all the way out so that we can see into it. You can see here it's a hot dog in a hallway. Literally, if I take the, not a great camera angle, I admit. If we take this bolt, it's literally just a hot dog in a hallway. And that's what these guys are meant to solve. Come here. We take this guy and we slip it on like this, and it takes up all of that slop in the subframe, and the rest of this goes into the body. Now, I don't know if it makes a difference, but I've always done this. These sleeves all have like a larger depression on one side that's machined into them. I face that down onto this larger section of the bolt here so that it goes over the top of it. I think that's why it's made that way, but it'll actually go both directions, so whatever. It works either way. So the dowels are pretty easy. You literally just take the dowels one at a time. What you're going to do is you're going to loosen the subframe bolts. You need to loosen all 4. So loosen all 4 of the big subframe bolts, and that'll let the subframe wiggle. And then you're going to take, and when I say loosen, I mean like 1.5 turns, right? You loosen all 4 so that the subframe loosens for you and it can wiggle around. You take one of them all the way out, like we did right here, and then you're going to try to put it back in with the centering dowel. When you try to put it back in, it's probably not going to be centered, which means you might need either your arm strength or a pinch bar to wiggle the subframe around until this bolt with that dowel can get into the hole. Once you've done that one, you move on to the next one in case the front. Now, if you do this one side at a time, it's really, you have to get lucky. So there's some people that manage to leave these guys tight on this side and loosen this side, and it just happens that the dowel will fit in there because the subframe was pretty close, and that'll mostly save your alignment, but more than likely not. And I've never had one where I've never had one where I didn't have to loosen all 4 to make enough room to wiggle the subframe around to get them to fit in. So just be prepared for that. But do one at a time, one side at a time. Front, rear, rear, front of this side. Bring them back up to almost tight, loosened, and then same thing on this side. And that allows you to get all of this lined up. To show you, there are 2 sizes. I've got the sleeves sitting up in here. I forgot to mention there are 2 sizes. The thicker one goes in the front hot dog in a hallway. The thinner one goes in the rear. So before you send your bolt all the way in, I've got the sleeve in there. It's somewhat pressure fit into the hole. We need to put our shims in here. Like I explained to you, the thinner one goes in the rear, and it's the upper. It's this one right here. It's got a thinner measurement to it. I've got it marked as rear up. It's got these 2 notches in it. And if you feel up in here, the bushing is shaped that way too. There's a opening, a recess on this side and opposite of that. So if you take this guy, you put it like this, and you slip it into here like that, it locks in. You can see it twists a little bit, but it locks in to those recesses, and now it's in there. The other one right here, this guy, this one gets clamped around this space right here. See, the bushing is visible right here, but it's got like a metal plate on it between it and the subframe body. So that's why this one is split, because you can't actually take that apart. So I'm going to split this, and I'm going to show you how to wrap this around it. All right, I want to show you what I've got going on here. So if I come around this way or this way, it's kind of hard to show it in the back. I've got from the outboard side, here's Jacob, here's the wheel. From the outboard side, you slide this one in this way. It's got a U shape to it. so it can only really go on there one way. And then the shorter side, this one, you have to kind of sneak this guy around the back right here and then into the hole and push it in. And when you're putting these guys in, there's a ledge, a recess here. This goes up like this into there. So the smooth side faces down towards the ground. Now, I hadn't pushed them all the way in yet, so I could show you that because they're tight. So you might use a flat blade or a pinch bar, or even a mallet to help tap on this, because it fits very tightly in this gap between the subframe and this bottom washer here. So I'm gonna go ahead and sink it in and then put the screws back in again, and I'll show you what that looks like. For your reference, it is a 4mm Allen. So let me get that put together, I'm gonna show you. All right, and you can see here I've got both halves in and they are screwed together. I changed my opinion halfway through. It's easier to put the smaller one in on this side. You actually, like I said, you need to kind of slip it in from the back here and roll it around. A medium size pinch bar like this is gonna be your best friend because it is snug. Once you've got the little one in the back pushed in, it kind of pulls the plate away from it a bit, opening up the rubber, giving you more room to squeeze this guy in, and then you can use the pinch bar to kind of get the two clamshells to line up well, and then run your bolt in. Now I've accidentally knocked my upper one out, so let me go ahead and sit this guy back up in here. Like I said, it notches into that rubber bushing. You can't miss it. Notches down into the rubber bushing like that, and then we can put our bolt back in with our sleeve slid out of there too. But I'm going to put the sleeve in, I'm going to slide the bolt in, and then I'm going to show you what the front looks like. All right, so whenever you drop the front one out, this backing plate comes with it, so it kind of just ends up living with it like that, leave it like that. But it does give me more room to show you the hot dog in a hallway situation we've got going on here, and how this dowel slides in and fills that space. Let me make sure I have it turned the right way. Like I said, one side's got a machined recess, and that should face down under the car. So this guy goes like this. Boom. Now that guy's in. These are pretty easy. So much like the one in the back, you've got one of these guys that goes up top, and these notches face down into that bushing up there, but the front uses the thicker version of that. Let me rearrange myself. Here we are. So I'm looking at it from the side, and this guy gets slipped in up here. Ugh. I may have the subframe tightened up too much in the back because it's not letting me slip it in. Got to get it in the hole.
Amateur.
Yeah, Jake is saying I'm an amateur. He's right. Let me loosen the rear up a little bit, and I'll show you how to get this guy in. All right, here I am bringing you back. I'll loosen that rear bolt up a little bit so that it would give me room. You can see here how the upper one slots into those notches in that rubber bushing, getting it all tied in for us. Ugh. And then the lower one gets squeezed between this bracket assembly. So let me put this back together again. This goes in there like that. This lower one, you can see here, front lower, goes around the ears. See those? Goes around the ears of this bushing to support it like that. And then guess what? This guy just gets boop, stuck right back up in there again. Quick. All right, and just like that, I've got this guy in. Recommendation, don't sink this bolt in. Leave it pretty loose. Get it just tight enough that you can get these two bolts in by hand. Do not force these little guys in here. You're going into a nut in the frame, so if you mess that nut up, it's screwed up forever. And then same thing with the subframe bolts. You should be able to start and screw them in by hand comfortably before you send them in. Do not force these guys to go in or you'll screw up that nut inside the body. Now, once you've got these guys on here, it's a bit difficult to see, but you can see the lower ones on here. It's just the same process repeated for the opposite side to do this. Now, obviously, whenever you go to tighten this all up, you need to tighten all 4 of the subframe bolts a little at a time and working in a cross pattern until the subframe touches the body. Make sure your coil spring is still in a good place, that it hasn't moved off of its isolator. And we're gonna suck them up until it touches the body, and then we're gonna torque to 129 foot-pounds in a cross pattern on all 4 of these. And these guys are like around 40. I usually just put them tight, but they're around 40 foot-pounds. So go ahead and get all of these guys sucked up and tightened, and you'll be ready to rip. All right, y'all, so clearly we're running out of daylight. We got them in. I wanted to let you know, when you're putting the 2-piece one in the bottom, you're going to fight with that a good bit. It's tight. It's a good thing. It's the way it should be. You don't need to get the 2 to touch without the bolts in. You just need them to get close and lined up. And then those Allen bolts that they include are pretty darn long, so they can actually bite and then help you sandwich it and pull it the rest of the way in. But we got them all in. Got the subframe torqued to 129 foot-pounds. Got the subframe connectors in at approximately 1.5 Ugga or 40-ish foot-pounds. 129 foot-pounds is a lot tighter than it feels and looks, so don't trust an impact gun on the subframe bolts. I promise you, you leave those suckers loose, the subframe will move. Ask me how I know. Use a torque wrench, and I usually just set mine to 130 and run them down and double check multiple times in a cross pattern to make sure, because sometimes it kind of wiggles and then tightens more. So STEEDA, the fitment on STEEDA stuff there is fantastic. But that concludes part 2 of phase 1. We obviously ran out of daylight, got a party tomorrow, but I'm going to be back bright and early Monday morning, and I'm going to move on to the vertical link and the tow arms, which is going to be part 3 and 4. So stick around for that. Anyways, thank you for watching. As usual, we love you. God bless. Peace.